The young millionaire Chris, who earned his capital on IT technologies, lives in a secluded house in the mountains and is now passing through a divorce. Communicating on the video with his wife Jamie, he admits that he had postponed the signing of documents for a long time. Not believing that their relationship was completed, Jamie decided to leave her husband as work for him has always been more important than the family. They have a wonderful daughter named Willow. One evening, Chris meets a charming girl named Sky. She asks him to help choose wine. When they leave the store, Sky reports that a taxi canceled her order. Chris kindly offers to give her home. The girl talks about her friend Lisa, with whom she rents an apartment. They recently quarreled, and Sky hopes that Lisa is already sleeping to avoid further conflicts. Chris offers to spend time from him and then take her home, and Sky first refuses, but then agrees. She is struck by Chris's chic house. Behind the glass of wine, he talks about himself, mentioning that a few months ago he sold Google his application for the safety of houses. Chris himself is a sociophobe and is very concerned about security because he has something to protect. Sky worked as a model in Los Angeles, but hated to be just a body in clothes. She came to the mountains in search of interesting work, but did not find anything and now works as a waitress. After a warm conversation, Sky asks to take her home, but Chris offers to stay. She happily agrees, not hiding her intentions. As a result, the couple spends the night together, enjoying each other's company. Returning home, Sky quarrels with Lisa, who reproaches her for disappearing where it is. After that, Sky closes in his room. Meanwhile, Chris decides to visit the bar where Sky works to find out why she left, without warning him. On the spot, Sky admits that she hoped for his parish and glad to see him again. She shares her story. She never had a real family since she was often adopted, and her childhood was a complete nightmare. Chris likes her frankness, and he says that she is wonderful. Suddenly, in the parking lot, they are faced with a robber who is trying to open the car. Chris asks him to leave, but Sky behaves more aggressively and throws a bottle into him. As a result, the robber breaks his leg and runs away. Returning from the hospital, Chris reports that he hired a nurse, since it is difficult for him to take care of himself with gypsum. Sky claims that she will cope better than any nurse and even knows how to cook omelets in the morning. It soon turns out that Ronald, the owner of the motel where Sky and Lisa live, is unhappy that the girls did not pay for the rent again. He warns them that if they do not pay within a few days, they will be evicted. Lisa, it turns out, is not just a friend Sky, but her girlfriend. Upon learning that Sky is going to move to Chris, Lisa begs her to stay, claiming that he could not live without her. Despite this, Sky is moving to Chris, and they have a great time together, enjoying expensive wine and communication, under the night sky in a jacuzzi. Soon, Chris admits that she fell in love with Sky, and she reciprocates, although she says that it scares her. But soon, there is a tragedy. Ronald finds Lisa dead in the bathroom with signs of suicide. The police begin the investigation. Chris contacts Jamie and agrees on a meeting to sign documents about divorce and see a daughter. Soon, Chris begins to suspect that something is wrong with Sky. He rummages in her things and finds a joint photo with Lisa, which causes her discontent. Sky reassures him and says that he understands his curiosity. At night, Chris wakes up alone and cannot find the phone. In the news, he sees a message about the death of Lisa and advises Sky contact the police. She replies that it would be stupid because it was she who killed Lisa. With cold indifference, Sky explains that she followed Chris for the last 2 months and knows everything about him. Chris understands that their relationship was part of the Sky plan. In a rage, he demands that she leave his house, but it turns out that the phone that controls the security system is with her. Meanwhile, Ronald finds a telescope and begins to peep for naked women from rich houses. Sky, meanwhile, plans to deprive Chris of everything, including his wealth. When Ronald finds the house of Chris, he decides to pick up the picture of Picasso, but Sky returns and eliminates it. Chris manages to escape, but he falls into the trap when he is selected by the accomplice of Sky. In the house, the accomplice says that he is a stepfather, Sky, and taught her to deceive rich men. He even begins to read morality to Chris about the rich and the poor. Before leaving with Sky to the bedroom, Chris is trying to convince Sky that he would give her everything, because everything he has belongs to both of them. Sky replies that she took everything from him, except for bonds of $14 million, which are in a bank cell. When Jamie and Willow come to Chris, they understand that something is wrong. The robbers lock them in the dressing room and leave for the bank with a finger of Chris to access the cell. Chris asks Willow to get through the ventilation and free them. Jamie says that she has already taken bonds to have levers of pressure on Chris in case of divorce problems. Deceived robbers return to the house. Sky, intending to get rid of Chris, takes weapons. In the final battle, Chris wounds Sky, and at that time, the police come to the call. In the last minutes of the film, Sky admits to Chris that her name is in fact Margaret. I also advise you to watch other videos on my channel. Good luck!